Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here today, and today we are going to be building a pressurized oiling system. We are doing this to prime our oil pump, but not only the oil pump, we're going to prime the whole system. So, what do you need for this? Well, you could go buy that really expensive pressurized tank and all that other fun stuff that retail $250 if you're lucky American to about $500. And again, it just depends on how much you're going to use this. If you're only going to use this for one engine build or very rarely, then I would suggest you make your own. Again, we don't need a whole lot of PSI to be doing this. What have I got here? Well, this is from Princess Auto. And as you can see, it's just a 2-gallon sprayer. I got this thing for 11 bucks today. And then on top of that, I picked up this. This is 1/2 inch, 10 feet of clear PVC tubing. Now, could you use that one that is existing? Well, yes, of course you could. But the problem is, well, you can't see through it. I'd rather be able to see through it so that way I can see the fluid still going in. Again, you could just go by the fluid level draining out of here, or you could have that to watch and make sure that the fluid's going in whichever way. If you don't want to buy the hose, don't. I think it was like 5 bucks for that hose. Other piece that I bought. These guys. Why? Because we want to be able to blast a little bit of air in here with an air compressor. Don't want to do that? That's fine. Go ahead and just use the handle. And all you'll do is you'll be pumping it up. I'm kind of lazy that way, so I will be using my air compressor and monitoring it with a gauge. That way I know how much PSI is actually in that bottle. Because I'd rather keep it around 35 PSI if possible. And for doing so, I've got a step bit and a 1/2 inch bit. We're going to try the 1/2 inch bit first and see if I can slip that in there. If it not, I'll be stepping it. Next thing you're going to need is a, as you can see, 1/4 inch inside diameter hose barb by 1/8 inch, and that is national pipe thread there. So that way we can fit that on our fitting, which is right here. This is an Autometer fitting 2278. This is for the Corvette LT motors. You need that fitting. It is a 12 mil by 1.75. So it's right there. It's a really tricky fitting to find. I lucked out and I found one at the local shop, and everywhere else was sold out and didn't have any. So got that. Got this stuff. That's what we're working with today. I think the first thing we're going to do, in my case, is I'm going to quickly drill that 1/2 inch hole. And again, I'll probably drill it on some sort of flat surface, even if it's right here, because I'm not going to be filling this whole bottle up. And I want it on a flat surface so I get a good seal. So, again, all I'm going to do is drill a small hole, put that in there. Before we do this, let's go ahead and get some things out of the way. First one, get this out of the way. We will be altering that hose unless you're not going to, and that is completely up to you. And then next, remove this piece. And let's see if we can get this last piece out of here. There we go. Don't want to get that too dirty. Put that back together. And we'll just make sure that's right there. That's our pump. Take this, actually that one doesn't matter as much. This is just a blow off valve, just in case you go crazy. As you can see, it's held in by a spring. And that is there just to make sure you don't overfill this thing. Okay. Now that we've gone ahead and cleared out our bottle, like I said, we want to find a flat surface. Why don't we go just above power fist here, right there. All right. You can also clear this thing out after. Next thing I'm going to do is grab a little bit of lube and see if I can get that in there. But I'm going to go ahead and say there's a really, really low chance that I'm going to get that in there right now. I think I need to gauge that just a little wee bit more. Let's go ahead and gauge that hole just one size bigger. right there. The other thing that we'll want to do, if we can afterwards, is see what we can do. Now, I'm just trying to, like I said, dry fit it a bit. Let's see. Now that would definitely squeeze through that side. So, lube up the stem. Angled set. Grab this if I can. Oh, come on. Come on. See if we can kind of pull it through with this one without breaking anything. There we go. Haha. Again, I don't know how many people are gonna have these, but if you don't have them, they're cheap and you should get a set. These big long pliers. And then there. Now we've got ourselves a way of doing that. Now, I used assembly lube once again because I have tons of it. You can use oil and it should slip right in there. And again, I stepped this with the step bit 9/16, and that's all I did there. Next thing, probably gonna just take my air compressor, blow this out. I just wanna get all the pieces in here. Now, whatever you do, even if when we replace this hose, do not take that off if you wanna keep big fragments out, just in case. It actually has a kind of like a little filter on here, but that will slow down your oil flow. So if you're worried, if you know everything in there is clean, go ahead and pull this off if you want to. But again, that'll slow down your oil flow, but it'll also make sure that things don't go into your motor. So it's a catch-22. I've decided I'm gonna keep the black tube. Just go ahead, put this on here, feed it in. Probably remove that handle. Anyways, just make sure this seals nice. Perfect. And again, yeah, okay, good. After we've got that on there, don't go crazy. Make sure it's sealed, but yeah, don't go too crazy. Anyways, this one has another seal on it. Make sure that seal has not fallen out. Good. With that fitting, keep that washer safe. We have to put that in on the block side because this is metric. The other one, which is a national pipe thread, seals as you tighten it. It is important that you realize you don't crank these. So tighten it. Let's show you. Oh, wrong way. Put these two pieces together and then put it into the block together. Just like that. There. That's all you need. Don't go crazy with it. It will seal. It's tapered threads. If you go nuts and you crank this in, I'm telling you now, it's better that it kind of leaks a tiny bit than you over tighten this, because all you'll hear is a little, and then you'll crack the threads and then you'll cry, because then you need both new pieces. And this piece from Autometer is probably actually the most expensive piece out of the whole bunch. I think that fitting cost me 22 bucks. And I originally bought this fitting for my oil pressure gauge. I have a manual one. And this is the first time I've ever had one that needed this threading. Anyways, so we've got that. Next thing I'll show you what to do is we'll put that copper gasket on here and we'll thread this into the block. I will show you which hole it is on the Lt1. As for this, you're not using this. Go ahead, grab that, pull it off, and then that isn't needed anymore. I would go ahead, take a pair of scissors and cut just this tip off, because you're going to be sliding that onto the barb once this fitting is on. Don't have to worry about putting this back in until we put the fluid in. So this is all ready to go now, other than setting up your compressor. I'm not going to show you how to do that because it shouldn't be the first time you've inflated a tire. So let's show you on the Lt1 motor. Again, this will work for the Lt4 as well. This is in a Corvette, but it'll work for Camaros. It'll work for anything else with the 6.2 Lt1 or Lt4, Lt5 in it. All right, I'm gonna zoom in on my socket bit, which should be sitting right there. See how you can see the chrome side? I zoomed it in, but it is right there. See how it's on its flat spot just under there? It's kind of hard because my camera refuses to focus. Oh, there, I think I got it. Yeah, see that one? That is the one that you need to loosen. It is a 6mm Allen key. So go ahead, thread that out, and go ahead and thread the new one in. Again, don't go crazy when putting it in. Just crush that little copper washer in there. As you can see, the fitting is installed in the block and I squeeze the hose onto the barb. All you simply do is tighten it in. Just don't go too crazy. Remember, it's not going to be there very long. It's just there until we pressurize the system. And there might even be a little bit of oil that comes out depending on if you threw some oil in the pump when assembling your motor. Once we've gone ahead and done that, you'll throw oil in this guy. We know this is a dry sump in this case, but if you have a wet sump, you don't really have to worry. You know it's going to take 9 liters. You can go ahead and fill this thing up to the max or up to where you put your check valve. You don't want it to backfeed into this, so I'd probably keep it around 6 and then pour the rest in afterwards in through the oil spot in your valve cover. I've got a dry sump system. A big portion of the oil stays in the dry sump tank. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm only going to go to probably 4 or 5. Fill it up, blast about 5 liters into it, and then I'll top up the rest through my dry sump tank. And that way we know that it's going to prime the pump as well as prime all the oil galleys and all that other fun stuff. So go ahead, fill it between 5 and 6, whatever you want to do. All right, sorry for the dinging. It's because I have it plugged in. This is, of course, VCM scanner with HP tuners. What I've done is I've added an oil pressure channel right here. These are 2 other ones that offered, but this is the main one. Now, how you know for the main one is you would just right click, and you would hit add a channel. Once you click on that, you can literally type in oil pressure, and it'll show a 12 with a blue symbol beside it. That means that is valid for your vehicle. And now that we have fuel pressure, I would press, like I did, connect the vehicle. Now it says disconnect, and I have the little record button going. Now I can see the oil pressure. And again, I don't know about these 2. I just added them to the manual because it let me, but I majorly went for this one, which is the one with the blue. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our system right here. I have this charged up from our compressor so we can start pushing it into the system. I have that on this piece right here, and the first thing we want to do is manually pump it to see how we're doing. So go ahead, grab this, lift your manual pump, and start pumping away. All right. So again, I'm going to try, there we go, we unlock the pump. We can start trying to build some pressure. Might need to seal that in, but we'll see. I just want to see if we can build any pressure on that. If not, I will do some sealing on there. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but we're going down. I'm just going to see, we're showing about 10 psi of air right now. Let's go ahead, do that. Let's add a little bit from the compressor. There we go. This is just a quicker way of doing it. Of course, I expect some to bleed out. It is going out pretty quick. I do see this going in though. So this is pushing the oil in. Now again, You could even just do this with pump, but I can feel we've got some pressure in here, some PSI. That's a really squeaky pump. So if you didn't want to use your compressor, go ahead and just do it this way. All right, let's see where we're at here. It's saying 20 PSI. That's my compressor kicking in. And basically all you want to do is let this continue going up. I'm at about 30 PSI in there right now. It's still flowing. I'm just checking for any leaks under the hood. There is none. I'm flicking that off for a sec, even though I know I'm going to lose air. What I want to tell you to do is just monitor for leaks. I'm not seeing any. Again, that's just from your connection over there where you put the barb on. Looks like we've got about 2 quarts in there now, which is good. We'll keep letting it go. And you can even listen for any air bubbles and stuff being released from there. Now another thing you can do, in the Corvette's case I can't do this, is you can spin the crank and this will also move the oil pump. Another thing you can do if you want to prime the pump after you've done that pressurized part is you can pull these spark plug wires or just simply disconnect these guys. See how this one's flipped up? All I would do is flip this up. Let's see if I can do it. I probably just jinxed myself by compressing it back in. But either way, you would pop that forward like this, pinch, and lift up. By doing so, and you do that to all of them, you're disabling the spark to those cylinders. Next thing you would do, lift this up. In here, this little guy, little 10, is for the fuel pump that is on the valley tray. So pull out that little 10. Then you'll go to the rear of the vehicle. Put that back on. For me, I've already done this. Clip. We'd go to the rear. We'd come around. Now this could be hard for me just because of the fact the wing's in the way, but let's see if I can flip this up and show you. All right. That tray will be over top of it. See that 25 amp fuse? See if I can show you. Pointing at it with my finger. There, it's right in front of that relay. It's the only beige fuse. So there's 2 red ones, a beige one, and a gray one. Right there. See that one right where my finger is? Pull that one out. That's for your main fuel pump. From there, you can go ahead, press the brake, and press the start button. It's going to give you an engine light, obviously. But what it's going to do is it's going to crank it over, but it won't start your motor and it won't push fuel. What it'll do is it'll push it, and then you should be able to see on there that it's getting fuel pressure, or on your manual gauge, or if you have HP tuners, you can of course set it up so you can look at it through HP tuners and you'll see your oil pressure climb. Mine did. I hit about 50 PSI off just the starter. Now keep in mind I'm using a K-Tech high scavenging pump. I don't know what you'll get from a stock pump. After you do that, put it all back together and start it up, you're primed. Hopefully that helped you out for making the contraption. I already put it away. Start it up and have fun.